Our Across the Aisle segment tonight, fired FBI Director James Comey appeared before the Senate today. Democrats were hoping for bombshell testimony from Comey that would implicate President Trump in a massive Russian conspiracy, but they never got it. Instead, Trump was vindicated, but don't expect Democrats to stop pushing false narratives about him anytime soon. With me now, Democratic strategist Joel Payne. Joel, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Listen, Joel, this hearing this morning, great TV, by the way, absolutely very interesting, entertaining show to watch Comey in front of the Senate Intel Committee. He testified that the president is not and was never under investigation. He received no orders from the president to stop the Flynn investigation, no requests to stop investigating Russia, which would essentially mean there was no obstruction of justice. And yesterday, the Intel chiefs, Rogers and Coates, testified to the same thing. And I guess my question is, what's left? What are Democrats still hoping to find in this whole thing?
Well, Democrats aren't hoping to find anything. It sounds like it's bipartisan committees of investigation, the Intelligence Committee and also the committee on the House side. It looks like the FBI is still investigating it. So this is not a partisan witch hunt. I know that's the president's talking points, but that's not true. And I guess if you don't consider it a bombshell that the FBI director felt the need to record all of his conversations with the president because he didn't trust that the president wouldn't lie, then sure. I guess that's not a bombshell, but that sounds like a bombshell to me.
No, I mean, I don't consider it to be a bombshell that there's an individual in our nation who doesn't like the president or who impugns his character. We've seen that all around. I mean, I guess I find it a little odd that Democrats all of a sudden are putting James Comey on a pedestal as their hero, saying, well, James Comey, this man of integrity, thinks Trump might have lied, when this is what we heard from Democrats about James Comey in the past. Take a look at this tape.
But I was on the way to winning until the combination of Jim Comey's letter on October 28th.
I have had great admiration for Director Comey. I think that he just couldn't take the heat.
Comey acted in an outrageous way during the campaign.
All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility.
If the election had been on October 27th, I'd be your president.
I mean, Joel, what changed? Is it just the political narrative that changed, that now it's convenient for Democrats to side with Comey?
Well, I don't think any of those statements are incongruent with thinking that Jim Comey is a good, decent man who made some flawed decisions and attempted to do his job with integrity. One of the things that I saw that was the most heartening was the fact that he acknowledged that he was imperfect and that he wished he had handled some situations differently. I think he's acknowledging the things that were the source of those frustrations that you just played. But again, you know, the real story here is our president, and our president who just has a problem with the truth. He can't seem to find the truth. He can't seem to figure out, how do I not lie? I mean, the FBI director, right? This is not a partisan hack. This is George W. Bush's FBI director.
No, wait a second, because I mean, I don't know what you're talking about when it's coming to lies here. We can go through the Democratic talking points. The first one being that Trump somehow colluded with Russia. Joel, do we have evidence that that happened?
No, I don't. And I think the FBI director, I think what he said was that there were a lot of things that he probably couldn't discuss out in the open.
No,
but
not just Comey. Not just
Bob
from
Mueller,
Comey.
I think Bob Mueller is probably investigating the president for obstruction of justice. And I think we all know what obstruction of justice looks like. And it looks like a president who decides to clear out a room and have a one-on-one conversation where he decides to
that's exactly
try to apply
why we're not the special prosecutors, because there's actually a legal definition for what obstruction of justice is. And legally, even if that comment happened, which it would have been inappropriate if it did happen, does not necessarily, by appearance, mean that it was obstruction of justice. But going back to this, it's not just Comey that said that there is no collusion. It's Feinstein, Senator Manchin, Senator Warner, former DNI James Clapper, all said that there was no evidence of collusion here. So the Democrats, moved on to their next talking point, that Trump obstructed justice, impeded the Russia investigation, and that the reason you don't have any evidence was because Trump tried to shut that down. James Comey testified today that nobody tried to shut down his investigation.
Yeah, look, and Jim Comey certainly said things that I think a lot of Democrats were disheartened by. Look, he said things about Loretta Lynch. That's one of the things I appreciated about Jim Comey, was that he didn't go out of his way to help one side over the other. I thought he was a pretty fair, even-handed person in terms of his testimony today. But again, I want to go back to the fact our president has a problem with the truth. And if you think about how he launched his political career on a lie, on the lie that Barack Obama wasn't born in this country, and that he spent 5 years pursuing that lie and has never fully apologized for that, I don't know why we're surprised that it's come to light here that the president has been less than truthful again.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's not the role of the United States Senate to hold hearings on whether Democrats think the president is honest or whether Democrats think that the president has integrity. I mean,
is Richard Burr a Democrat?
Those are
Richard Burr a Democrat?
Those are political issues. I'm looking so hard for substance here for the case. What case, what crime, what counterintelligence investigation, what are they trying to build here? I don't see any facts or any evidence aside from the fact that they don't like the president.
You just broke news to me that Richard Burr is a Democrat. I'm pretty sure he's a Republican from North Carolina. I've got North Carolina roots, so I know Richard Burr pretty well. Isn't he the head of the committee that called this hearing and invited? I mean, this isn't this is not a partisan witch hunt.
Away from my question.
The FBI is not a The FBI is not a tool of the Democratic Party.
Joel, it's pivoting away from my question, and my question is, what case is trying to be made against President Trump? And it is driven mostly by Democrats and by the media's narrative right now. What case are they trying to build against Trump except that they don't like him and they don't like his personality? I'm actually looking for a legal case here, and I'm not hearing that from anybody who's making accusations against him.
I'm not attempting to make any case other than the fact that it looks like we have a president who has attempted to obstruct justice. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't sit here and diagnose that on TV. And it looks like we have a president who has a problem with the truth. And I've got about at least a half a decade and maybe longer in terms of a line of evidence to prove that. So that's the case that I'm talking about.
Let me ask you then. I mean,
and there was a time where conservatives would have been concerned about that.
No. I mean, did former DNI Dan Coates, did NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers, did they perjure themselves yesterday when they said that, you know, their investigation had never been impeded? They'd never felt pressure to do anything illegal. They'd never felt shut down. Did they perjure themselves? Is that what you're saying? Because if President Trump tried to obstruct justice and they testified that he didn't, someone's lying.
I would hope not. But let's just say this. Donald Trump does not have a great record with the truth. So if you're telling me who do I trust in a honesty contest between Jim Comey and Donald Trump, I'm probably going to go with Jim Comey.
And Jim Comey said that President Trump did not try to impede the investigation. So there you go. Joel, thanks for coming.